Now that you have selected the appropriate starting grit for your floor, you are ready to begin the polishing process. In order to achieve optimal results using Diamabrush, it is important to separate the polishing process into two phases. Phase 1, restoration, and Phase 2, maintenance. During the restoration phase, you will be restoring your floor from a dull, dirty floor to a clean, polished floor. To do so, you will be following a multi-step progression of grits from coarse grit through finer grits to reach the desired result of a polished floor. Operators will make multiple passes with each grit over the area to be polished, making sure to follow the operating requirements outlined in Chapter 2 of this training module. At this point, we are ready to walk through each individual grit and describe how to perform the step and what to expect as you progress through each step in the Diamabrush system. The first grit we are using on this floor is the 50 grit polymer tool. The objective of this step is to smooth and level the concrete, creating an evenly white and uniform surface. This is the first step in the polishing process, and it is by far the most crucial. You must spend the time to get this step right. Operating the machine at a very slow pace is extremely important during this step. You will need to make approximately 10 to 12 passes with the 50 grit polymer tool. It is important to move the machine as slowly as possible during each pass, as this will allow the brush the opportunity to make multiple revolutions over the floor and create a more level surface. We've just completed 5 passes with the 50 grit polymer tool. As you can see, there are dark and light spots on the floor. The darker areas represent low spots in the concrete that have not been evenly leveled. If you slowly rub your hand on the dark spots, you can feel the coarseness of the low spots in the concrete versus the lighter colored areas, which are smoother to the touch. This is an indication that additional passes are required or your pace is too fast. Again, the goal of this step is to smooth and level the concrete, creating an evenly white and uniform surface. It is extremely important to get this step right. Not completely leveling the floor during this step will negatively affect the final results. If you've made the requisite number of passes at the correct pace and you still have this type of finish, you may need to drop down to a coarser grit tool. We've just completed 10 passes with the 50 grit polymer tool. As you can see, the floor has been leveled and the dark spots in the concrete have been removed. This is the finished result you're looking for with the 50 grit polymer tool. You're now ready to begin using the 100 grit polymer tool, the next step in the Diamabrush polishing process. The 100 grit polymer tool is primarily used to remove the scratches left in the floor from the 50 grit polymer tool. This tool is still cutting the floor, however, it will also begin to hone the floor, which will start to feel smooth to the touch. As always, the operator should run the machine at a very slow pace with this step. You will need to make approximately 6 to 8 slow passes with the 100 grit polymer tool, making sure you are covering the entire area being polished. We've just completed 6 passes with the 100 grit polymer tool. The floor should start to take on a slightly darker color and start to feel somewhat smooth to the touch. Again, the goal with the 100 grit tool is to take out the scratches left by the previous step with the 50 grit tool and make the floor smoother.